Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Dream Productions. This is a 4-part miniseries that premiered today on Disney Plus. It's a spin-off of the Inside Out films. It takes place between Inside Out and Inside Out 2. So we see a Riley that's a little bit younger, and you'd think this would be a kind of a throwaway kind of situation, kind of a thing that's, oh, it wasn't important enough to include in the other films. Well, maybe not, but it would have gotten very, very complicated and very busy very fast. What is fantastic about this is not only just the cast, I'll get to that in a moment, but it's treated as if it's a film. These 4 parts, they're anywhere from 26, 27, 31 minutes, all 4 parts, and they pretty much, if you add that up, that's about almost a 2-hour movie. Yeah, it's almost a 2-hour movie. So it's kind of its own spin-off film, but it works as a segmented 4-part series rather than trying to put it all into a single thing. Because certain things take place in each one of these that deserves its own focus. While it is always all about Riley, this shows us an aspect, just like we did with the Inside Out emotions. We get to see what goes on when Riley isn't awake, when she doesn't have conscious control of what's going on in her life, how she feels, how she reacts, how she thinks about certain things. In this, it's treated as if a movie studio has set up shop inside each one of us. In this case, of course, we focus on Riley. In this movie studio, they have to put on sometimes multiple productions a night in order to give us dreams. Sometimes they can be scary, sometimes they can be sad, sometimes they can be joyous and exciting, and sometimes they help us deal with the things that we can't necessarily process consciously during the day. In this case, we have a series of directors that are all experts, writers, directors that are experts in different genres, whether it's horror or comedy or, well, eventually we get to romance. But in this, it focuses mainly on a woman named Paula Persimmon. Paula Persimmon, I guess, because she looks like a persimmon. Okay. It keeps spelling her name wrong too. But she is the star director who has handled Riley's childhood dreams since she was like 2, since she was really little. She's the one who got Riley to deal with getting rid of her pacifier at the age of 2 or 3 or something like that. It's definitely, you get to see the inner workings. That's what I like about these films and this series so much, is that it takes things we know, things we have as part of our personalities, and we all sleep, we all dream, we all have each of these emotions, obviously, and how we react to certain things and people and experiences. But it sort of simplifies it in a way that sort of brings everything to light in a different kind of way that's humorous, but it's also so really clever. I really appreciate how they do this. In this movie studio ensemble, of course, we have different directors who have different visions, who have different ideas for what they want to put in Riley's dreams. But Paula, played by the fantastic Paula Pell. If you don't know who Paula Pell is, well, you probably do, because I believe, I don't know if she was a head writer, but she was one of the main writers for Saturday Night Live for a number of years. And yeah, some of the weirdest stuff has come from that woman. And trust me, anytime she's shown up in a TV show, she is the funniest person, period. Go watch AP Bio. I have a feeling it's on Hulu. AP Bio, you will know who Paula Pell is, because you'll know it's the funniest person on screen at any given time. She is a maniac, but here she takes the lead up against a number of other actors you might recognize. Richard Ayoade, I never say his name right, for the IT, why do I want to say it differently? The IT crowd, yeah, the IT crowd. He's done a ton of other stuff as well, but that's what I first know him from. He's done Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. That's a thing that most people don't know about. A very, very, very British show. But he plays kind of a snooty director who's more about vision and abstract ideas, and he's kind of an up and comer who wants to take all this mainstream stuff and do this sort of independent thought experiments with Riley's mind when she's dreaming. He doesn't get a whole lot of success, but let's just say he knows people. That gives him a certain amount of clout. But what we're dealing with this, and I'm not going to spoil the entire series at all, but I'm going to set things up for you. We follow Paula, and you have to understand, this is done in that camera interview kind of thing, like The Office, Parks and Recreation, Modern Family, those kind of things where each of the characters look at the camera, and sometimes the camera confession kind of things where they cut away to them. They're talking to you, the viewer, as if they're being as if it's a documentary of what they do. So it's we get Paula, we get Zenny, which is Richard Ayoade. It seems like that's what I should say, Richard Ayoade. And you also deal with an up and coming director, actually her assistant, Paula's assistant director. By the way, they are really stingy on IMDb right now with the credits. I think some of these things literally just came in a few minutes ago because I don't remember seeing any of this stuff earlier. Like they're just adding stuff, and I don't even think they have most of them. But there's also Paula's assistant director, who's an up-and-coming, wide-eyed, creative person who really wants to come into her own. And right off the bat, surprisingly, she's given the okay to direct her own dreams. Much to Paula's, she's a little confused because she has to sort of take a back seat to her mentee, the young woman that she's been training all this time. They work together great as a team. They're good friends, and it definitely leans into the Hollywood politics behind the scenes of the studio system. I live in LA, and so a lot of this stuff, I know people who've gone through this kind of stuff, and I've seen other TV shows. What was that Matt LeBlanc one that basically looked at the whole behind the scenes of Hollywood and dealing with how he used to be Joey Tribbiani, but he's having trouble, getting a role in Hollywood. And there's so many other things. I'm not mentioning Entourage, but there's all these different types of shows that look at that honestly Hollywood makes about themselves because they know it's funny when they watch it. They get the jokes, but anybody in the middle of Minnesota or South Carolina or wherever else, they don't get the jokes. They're not watching it. If you're in the industry, yes, there's going to be so many inside jokes in this, but you don't have to be in order to find this amusing. The kids who are watching this are not going to get a kick. They're not going to get a kick out of most of these jokes. They're not adult. They're mature. So this, if more than anything, while Inside Out is a much broader audience, definitely something that kids can enjoy at one level, parents can enjoy at another level, and both are emotionally affected in sometimes the same ways and different ways. This one does also have a through line that gives everybody kind of an emotional tug as we're seeing what Riley goes through when these people in her dreams manage to manipulate what's going on in her head to either make her feel joy or fear or anything else when our regular conscious emotions are asleep. So, and it all comes down to what is best for Riley. And sometimes people lose that kind of focus, as it might be with Hollywood sometimes. As when they create entertainment sometimes, yeah. Let's just say there's a lot of self-reference in this. Among all of these, Paula Pell, again, always fantastic. By the way, she wasn't even, I'm seeing her name at the very beginning now on IMDb. A few minutes ago while I was watching this and putting my notes together, for my post eventually when I post this, her name was not even in the list on IMDb for this. Like, even the added stuff. Like, what the heck? So IMDb barely knew anything that was going on. They didn't even have the names of some of the characters for Xena, not Xena. What is his name? Zenny, which is Richard's character. We have all the actors from Inside Out, too. Of course, two of them, like Disgust and Fear, were replaced from the first film. But we have Amy Poehler, we have Phyllis Smith, we have Lewis Black back for this series, and also Tony Hale and Liza Lupera. I know I'm going to mess this up. Liza Lupera as discussed. So we get the characters we know and love. They just make smaller appearances in this. This is not about them, but they do chime in every so often, and their reaction to what's going on in Riley's dreams sometimes can be fun to see, because they have to deal with the reaction, or assuming that Riley even remembers these dreams, they have to deal with the fallout when she's awake. So to me, this is immensely creative, working on so many different levels, and it's fun. It's fun, and it's, yeah. Again, people who are in the industry, the movie industry, this might be painful to watch in some cases because of the way studio heads tend to treat creatives, let's just say. And by the way, the head of the studio is played by Maya Rudolph. Hey, good friend of Amy Poehler's. I wonder how she got. She might have been picked for that job. She plays Jean. But there's no shortage of talent in this. And by the way, being a series and not a major motion picture, it doesn't detract from the quality of the animation. It's top notch. You wouldn't be able to tell. Sometimes when they make spin-off series for streaming or direct-to-video over the years, it's always been a steep slope downward when it comes to quality of animation. That is not the case in this one. Not that I could see anyway, and I usually am pretty cognizant of that. This is one I feel like I'm going to watch a few times over. In fact, the reason, did I say this already? But the reason why I'm posting this a little bit late is because once I watched the first one, and I was going to watch it the night before, like right when it premiered, but I fell asleep, ironically, and I dreamed. I didn't dream that I watched this, but I'm sure I dreamed. Do I remember what I dreamed? No, but that's one of the great things also about this, is that it deals with every element of our dreams. Think of something that we think about when it comes to dreaming, the reasons for like we can't remember our dreams. That's addressed in this. I don't want to. There's a big thing in the third episode that actually gets a little scary. It's for the characters, especially as they affect Riley. But it takes a turn that I wasn't expecting. But it addresses another aspect of dreaming and also of our sleep time that I didn't expect them to address. So it's just fun just to see the conflict between these characters and see sometimes who the real villain is in some of these stories and how they can come to work together to do what's best for Riley in the end. That's not a spoiler. That's just, that's going to be the point of this. So, yeah, we get all the actors that we love. We get a whole set of new characters, and although I think this pretty well tells this tale, this aspect of how our mind works in animated form. I wouldn't mind seeing more with this, but I think this story is beginning, middle, end for Paula's story. Unless they have more to tell, I'm not going to say no if they put out another season. Yeah, four episode seasons. Why not? Go for it. All right. So I've already picked tomorrow's episode yesterday. So I'm going to tell you right now, it was number 5 on that list. Number 5 was A Piece of My Mind. Wow, more stuff from that sounds like it's connected to this, but it's not. I don't think so. I don't think so. That's what we're watching next. It's a short, so it'll be pretty easy to watch. A Piece of My Mind is what we're watching next in the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.